television series. It was maybe a Star Wars film. And everything it just wasn't the right time or the right circumstances to get it made. And I was so happy actually that we made it when we did, because I feel like it was the right time after spending so much time working on world building in the DCU for over a decade. It was really such a great training ground on, how to make these big movies.
Look at him because he was chiseled and he was pale and he had that severe face. And on set, to maintain those roles, I think sometimes you have to be a bit consistent with them. But aside from that, it only made me not act and just react, because I was not terrified, but he was intimidating and he carried that energy very, very well. And I looked cute, so it was really, I made it easy for you, right? Because I was cute.
You're very cute. All the movies that we potentially looked at before, over the years, were always like playing friends, positive relationships. And it was a bit strange for us, Sofia was the only person in the cast that I knew before I started. I think in a way that helped and made it worse. Because I think it was really strange for us to kind of be pitted against each other. For the physical scenes, it was kind of horrible for me to pretend to punch you in the face.
Ultra Panavision. So what we did with this print is, it was an anamorphic movie to begin with, but then we had to go back and use math, which I didn't, obviously was not me doing it, to re-squeeze the movie ever so slightly, and then printed it in 70 mil, and then they put this Ultra Panavision lens on the projector that unsqueezes it at the source. So if you were to look at the print, it's slightly squeezed. So it's kind of cool.
What's the aspect ratio?
I forget what it is. It's Ultra Panavision is, I forget it. It's more than 234. It's whatever. It's something crazy. It's like the skinniest thing in the world. But it was kind of fun. It's pretty crazy. It's fun to look at too. And also, the printing does a bunch of crazy stuff to everything, which is kind of fun. I think it really gets at I don't know if you guys felt that, but when I watched it, when we first put it up here, the movie in its design was like, I wanted to have this sort of retro quality as much as we could. And I think the print really brings out a lot of that retro kind of, weirdness that I think is super fun. It allows the comment, a little cleaner in this 70 mil print than the DCP is pretty clean, so it's hard to see the conversation that I think you can see much better with the print. I was a cameraman in commercials for quite a while. Every now and then I would work with Larry because he's cool and it's fun to work with Larry, obviously, and he's a genius, so it makes it also fun. But after Justice League, I just noticed when we were shooting Justice League that the crew and the camera was so far away. They were like, I'd be at the monitors and I'd go like, okay, that was great. And no one could hear me because they were all way over there. And so I'd have to get up and walk over, or if I had a note, I'd have to, it was a long way away, and I'd be like, oh, look, this is cool, you guys are making a movie over here. So it just felt like this real, it just felt really disconnected from the actual physical act of making a movie. And so when we went to make Army, well, the truth is that I made a movie on my iPhone called this little Snow Steam Iron, little short film I made on my iPhone just because I had been thinking about teaching a class up at Art Center, similar to our Basics of Film class. It was going to be like an iPhone-only movie class, and I was going to teach the class about real rigorous schedule. I had I think it was a film every 2 weeks. I wrote the first script, and then the prompts were as you went. And the sort of thesis of the class was that you can make a movie with your phone. You don't need big equipment. You don't need anything fancy. You can do it. If you can do it, you can do it. If you have the right eye, you can make a great shot with your phone. And so I wrote this whole thing, and then at the end of it, I went like, oh geez, I have this whole thesis, but I've never made a film with my phone, so that's kind of rude to be scoldy about you can make a movie with your phone, but I've never done it. So we spent 2 days. And I made that little movie. You can see it's on Vero. Did do an audition, and I kind of felt very vindicated by the audition because she was the best of all the people we saw. And so I was like, ha! See? So that was cool. And then Ed and I had this Zoom where we were talking. Did I talk to you about another part? Yeah. He kept like sticking in my, I was like, wait a minute, I think he's noble. Like, it's weird. It was one of those weird things where I kept going like, what about Ed? Isn't Ed noble? And like everyone would be like, I don't know, what do you think? And I'd be like, I don't, let's look at it again. And then, and then he's just, I mean, now I can't imagine anyone else. It's impossible because it's so particular. And I think the cool thing is when you see movie 2, you understand, I mean, in a lot of ways, this movie is really just gathering the team. In order for the conversation, for me, as a student of sci-fi and like fantasy, and I wanted to make a movie where I got fucked up by a lot of great movies when I was growing up. And I mean that in the greatest possible way, you know. When I saw Excalibur, Uther and Grain started going at it in his armor, I was just like clearly too young to be seeing this, but I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is cool. I wanted the movie, and I think when you see the R-rated version of the movie, it's a lot more obvious. The irony of like being, for instance, like in a Star Wars-esque cantina. You can't go to a bar in a space movie without someone going like, oh, it's the cantina from Star Wars. Obviously, fuck, I get it. I know, I've seen the movie. But so like, that's why you have to like, you make it a brothel, and because like, did Walrus Man want to Luke? I don't know. I don't think it's possible. So like, I guess it's that, to me, it's like, that was the kind of questions I was asking myself when I was growing up, and I felt like those are the things that now that I'm an adult and I get to make a movie that you would get to like have in your movie. So, I mean, I think that's the fun. And so when I had this conversation with Netflix, of course you can imagine what they said. But they were really cool in the sense they were like, well, the PG-13 version of the movie, and I'm very proud of it and I'm excited it exists and it's awesome, but like, it allows the other version of the movie to exist as well. And so that's a great relationship for me. And when you do it with your eyes wide open, it's really cool to be able to kind of have that conversation. The two movies can have a conversation, and and they can also reach different audiences, and they can achieve different goals. And I think it's really kind of a unique situation I've never been in before.